Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, thanks for stopping by. My name is Tolu, and on this channel I share content all around personal finance, budgeting, frugal living, and I show you how to live your best life on a budget. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to watch another video. It's so amazing to see you here with me again today. So in today's video, guys, what we're going to be doing is talking all about the subject of debt. So as you may or may not know, there was a time when I was in a lot of debt. I did a video here where I shared my whole debt story and how I ended up in over £36,000 worth of debt. And I actually released an ebook recently called How I Paid Off £36,000 worth of debt, which I'll link in the description box below for you to check out. In that book, I basically talk about my debt journey, how I ended up in so much debt, and the steps in which I took to get out of debt. So if you are currently in debt and looking for a way out, grab a copy of this ebook, and I hope that it can help you on your debt-free journey in the same way that those steps helped me. But with that being said, what I really wanted to do in today's video is really discuss things that I wish I knew when I was in debt, because when I was in debt and felt like there was no way out, these are the things that I wish I knew back then, because it would have really had an impact on my debt-free journey and would have really helped me to save so much time, money and heartache along the way when it came to pursuing debt freedom. So I've got 10 things on my list that I'm going to share, and as I'm flowing in this video, maybe some more may come to mind, so I may add a couple of extra in at the end, but just for now, let's just take it as there's going to be 10 things that I'm going to be sharing. So 10 things that I wish I knew when I was in debt. Okay, so the first thing I wish I knew is that we were not alone and there was actually help available. So when I say we, I'm referring to myself and my husband, because it was the two of us that were in all of that debt. At the time, we didn't even know that there were services and companies that we could reach out to that could help us with our debt situation. So not too long ago, I made a video talking about what to do when overwhelmed by debt, which I'll link in the description box below, and I'll link up here if you haven't seen it, because in that video I spoke about a charity called Step Change, who are basically a debt relief charity that gives so much advice and support and services to help you on your debt-free journey. And I didn't know that these services existed when I was in debt, and boy do I wish I knew this, because I know people that have been able to get so much of their debt written off just by using services like Step Change and other debt relief charities. But I didn't know that that was even a possibility. I just thought it's my debt, I have to pay it. I didn't know or even consider the fact that there were people that I could reach out to that could give me advice on my debt situation and help me with the best possible outcome and solution that was appropriate for myself and for my financial situation. So even though I didn't know these things back then, now I know. I'm sharing it with you guys in case you are currently in debt. Know that there are services available, there are companies you can reach out to, charities that you can reach out to get that help and support on your debt situation, so that you know the best route and the best steps to take for yourself and for your finances. Who knew that you could actually speak to your creditors or speak to the people that you owe money to in order to arrange a payment plan that works for both parties? I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that you could speak to your creditors and arrange payment plans. I just thought that that was my debt and I had to pay it. I really wish somebody had told me this when I was in so much debt. So like I said, I'm telling you now, in case you are in that situation right now, just know that you can speak to your creditors, speak to the bank, speak to the company, speak to the people in which you owe money to, and see if you can arrange a plan that works for you and works for them, that helps you to reach that same debt-free goal, but in a way that is manageable for yourself and for your financial situation. Looking back on my financial situation, I can honestly say that going without is so worth it. When I was in my debt and when I was on that debt-free journey, in the early days at the beginning, I felt that it wasn't worth it. It felt like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get out of debt. Oh my gosh, this debt is taken over me. Oh my gosh, when will I get to have fun again? And at that time, it felt so overwhelming. It felt like there was no way out. It felt like we was just going to be on this debt-free journey forever. But on the other side, when you come through, there's literally light at the end of the tunnel. I wish I knew that when I was in debt. All those sacrifices that you're making on your debt-free journey, all the times you're having to go without, all those times you're having to say no to friends and family when they invite you out to places, all of that is so worth it when you get to the other side and when you finally become debt-free. So literally, don't let anything derail you from your debt-free goal, because nothing is worth it. Nothing is worth the peace of mind that you're going to receive and experience once you come out the other side and actually become debt-free. I really wish I knew that getting out of debt would take so much less time than I thought it would take. So when we first started on our debt-free journey, we felt like we were going to be in debt forever and we were going to be paying this money back forever. But that didn't end up being the case. It didn't take half as long as we thought it was going to take. And I think that's what happens when you start aggressively tackling your debt. It really does snowball, and the more you're seeing that debt balance go down, the more motivated you start to become to do more to pay off that debt even faster. So that debt-free goal that we thought was going to take us 4 or 5 years ended up taking us 2 years to do, and that was surprising to see. And I am by no means an anomaly. I'm not the only person that I know that's been able to reach that debt-free goal in a shorter time frame than I had anticipated. anticipated. I know so many people that have been able to do the same, reach their debt-free goal in a time frame that's shorter than anticipated. I think once you commit to the process, commit to starting that debt-free journey, it starts to compound and you don't realize it, and you look back a year later and you realize, wow, I paid off so much money. So definitely at the beginning it feels like it's overwhelming, you're never going to get there, but once you start on that journey and take it one step at a time, you're going to realize the acceleration quickly. Another thing that I really wish I knew when I was there is that there are so many different ways to make money. There are so many ways to generate extra streams of income, so you don't have to just stay there relying on your one salary and your one income from your employer and using that money to pay off your debt. Actually, there's so many different things you can do to make money in order to accelerate your debt repayment. When we're on our debt-free journey, we only explored a handful of different ways for us to make extra income, but the reality is there's so many different ways that you can generate income. So doing things like reselling on eBay, on Spock, those are literally just one out of many different income generating tasks that you can do. So when you're on your debt-free journey, really explore all the different ways in which you can make extra money, and that way you can really start to accelerate that debt repayment. Another thing I wish I knew when I was in debt is that it's gonna take a lot of effort to reach that goal of debt freedom. It isn't gonna be an overnight thing, it isn't a walk in the park. It's gonna take a lot of effort from both parties in order to reach that debt-free goal. I knew that it was gonna take work, let me not lie, but I didn't anticipate the amount of work it was gonna take and the amount of sacrifice we were gonna need to do in order to reach our debt-free goal. Obviously now, on the other side, looking back, I can say it was definitely worth it. However, at the time, it just felt overwhelming. It really felt like it was an insurmountable task to achieve. Another thing that I really wish that I knew when I was in debt is that saying no to some purchases will give me the freedom and the opportunity to say yes to other things that are more important to me. I wish that when I was in debt, I really understood the importance of having that self-discipline and having that self-control, and knowing that not everything needs to be a yes, and everywhere you're invited to go to, you don't have to go. Prioritize your money and prioritize your time. I really wish I knew this and understood this a lot when I was in debt, because it probably would have saved me, to be honest, from getting into even more debt. Because that inability to say no and say yes to everything and wanting to do everything, it really got us into a lot of trouble, and it meant that we had so much more debt in which we needed to pay off. Another thing that I really wish I knew when I was in debt is how difficult it is to actually stick to the plan. Like, it's so easy to want to quit and so easy for you to want to throw in the towel when you're on a debt-free journey, because things don't go according to plan all the time. Things get overwhelming, things become too difficult. You feel like, what's the point? It's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. I just want to quit. Listen, I had those moments more times than I care to admit, but the reality is that's part of the journey, that's part of the process. Things are not always going to be easy. You're not going to always want to pay off that debt. Sometimes you're going to want to go out to eat with your friends. Sometimes you're going to want to buy that new dress. But disciplining yourself and saying no to yourself because of that bigger goal in which you're working towards, it is a hard thing to do. And I didn't anticipate how hard it would be on my debt-free journey, but it was. So I'm letting you know now in advance, if you're on a debt-free journey, know that that sacrifice that you're going to be making is going to be hard to do. And it's so natural for you to want to give up. It's so natural for you to have those days when you're like, do you know what, this is long, I can't do this anymore, I quit, I give up, I'm just going to continue living my life. Life is short, let me just YOLO my way through it. But the reality is, life is short, yes, but life can also be long, and you want to live it well, and you don't want to live it with debt hanging over your head and with your finances in disarray. So if you currently are in debt and you're on a debt-free journey, just know that yes, there are going to be days that you want to give up. There are going to be days when you think, this is so hard, I can't do it, I just want to throw in the towel, this isn't working. You're going to have all of those negative thoughts plaguing you and going through your mind, but you just have to stick at it and just stay focused on that end goal of debt freedom, and you will eventually get there. Another thing I wish I knew is the importance of finding your tribe. Now, this is something that I didn't do when I was in debt, and I really wish I did. I really wish I found a community of like-minded people on similar journeys trying to pursue debt freedom, because I think I would have learned so much from that community, and I would have really felt empowered and encouraged on my debt-free journey. Because at the time when we were on our debt-free journey and we were paying off our debts, I didn't tell anybody about it. No family, no friends, nobody knew anything. We were just kind of suffering along in silence, myself and my husband, and just really trying to make things happen for ourselves, by ourselves. But fast forward to becoming debt-free and starting my Instagram account, starting YouTube, etc., and really finding the debt-free community online and seeing the amazing support and the amazing people in this community that really are rooting for each other to win, share encouraging messages, share their journeys, which are also very inspiring in themselves. All of those things really do help on a debt-free journey. I wish I had that when I was on mine. I really think it would have helped me in terms of boosting my confidence and really boosting my motivation and morale as I was on that debt-free journey. So definitely, if you're you're on a debt-free journey, it's so important to find your tribe. Get around like-minded people, people that are interested in paying off debt, people that are interested in living below their means. Getting around those kind of people is really going to help you on your debt-free journey. And if you're in debt, it's really going to motivate you and inspire you to get out of debt. Because when you see somebody else winning, you see somebody else achieving that goal and taking steps towards their debt-free goal, there's something in that that really motivates you and inspires you to want to do the same. Another thing I really wish that I knew when I was in debt is that burying your head in the sand is not going to work. It's not going to help you in any shape or form. It's not going to help you get out of debt. Burying your head in the sand and ignoring the situation and not facing it head on and not tackling the situation that you're in is just going to make things worse, and it's just going to delay your opportunity and ability to achieve the financial future that you could potentially have. If I did know this and realize it and acknowledge it and accept it, it would have definitely pushed me and persuaded me to actually embark on my debt-free journey a lot sooner. Because as much as I buried my head in the sand and ignored the situation and didn't face it head on, I knew in my heart of hearts that that situation was not going anywhere. That debt was going nowhere. That debt was waiting for me as soon as I turned around. If you are currently in debt, don't ignore it. Don't ignore your financial situations. Face it head on and take those proactive steps in order to achieve debt freedom. Another thing that I really wish I knew when I was in debt is that making minimum payments is a trap. It's a big trap from hell. Listen, making those minimum payments on a weekly, monthly basis is not going to help you get out of debt. All you're doing, if anything, is covering the interest on that debt. So the actual principal amount, the amount you owe, is not going down. So all you're doing is paying interest on a monthly basis, and you end up paying back so much more money than you actually borrowed. So don't just think, oh yes, I'm keeping up with the minimum payments, I'm doing all right, I'm doing fine, I'm able to keep up with this debt. No, making those minimum payments is really all just an illusion. It makes you feel like you're doing something. It makes you feel like, oh yes, I'm in control, I'm keeping up my payments, but you're not actually getting closer to becoming debt-free by only making those minimum payments. So if you are on a debt-free journey and you are thinking of paying off your debt, don't just make those minimum payments. Because the way I see those minimum payments is the equivalent of basically being on like one of those hamster wheels. So you just go round and round and round and round in circles, but you're not actually getting anywhere. That's the same thing. You're just paying those minimum payments in interest, but the debt is not going down. The debt is pretty much staying the same. So those are just some of the things that I wish I knew when I was in debt. Let me know in the comment section below if any of those things are things that you didn't know or things that you wish you knew also when you were in debt. And like I mentioned earlier on in the video, if you haven't yet grabbed a copy of my new ebook, How I Paid Off £36,000 Debt, check it out in the description box below. And if you do have a read of it, let me know what you think of it by leaving a review on my store. But with that being said, if you made it this far in the video, then that tells me you must have enjoyed it to some extent. So do me a favor and give it a thumbs up if you haven't yet done so. So give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will see you on my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.